Well, howdy there, folks. Today we talk about a stock in which I've had a lot of people request. Let's talk about this one, and it is the Planet stock. Yes, the Planet stock is in the $3 range now, and I want to share my opinion on this stock. Has my opinion changed over time in regards to this stock? All those sorts of things. I'm going to go through a ton of different data, show you a lot of other stocks in the space, what is going on here, so a lot of folks understand if this is a fundamental problem with the Planet, the company, or whether this is something much bigger going on why the stock price is being hurt. So I hope you guys enjoy this as always. All I ask in return is that you smash. Let's get into this, guys. So first off, in regards to Planet stock, look at this stock. It's $3.72 today. At its highs, it was in the $7, $8 range. This was back in probably about like January through February, right? And in that time period, a lot of stocks that had a lot of excitement were doing very, very well, okay? And the Planet is one of those stocks, a smaller market cap. At that time, it was pushing well over $1 billion. But let's be honest, it's a smaller market cap, a huge growth for that company, putting up amazing numbers. And let's be honest, this was a company that was almost facing bankruptcy. So you had a company that went from almost bankruptcy, or a lot of folks viewed this as like this company might go under, to all of a sudden they're reporting this ridiculous growth. There's all this excitement. The numbers are beautiful. The fundamentals look great. And next thing you know, it goes on a crazy bull run from, gosh, at the lows in 2020, this stock might have been, I don't know, 50 cents a share or something like that. And so it goes on this run from, let's say, roughly 50 cents a share at the lows in March of 2020 to the next thing you know, it's trading at $7, $8 in like a snap of fingers, less than 1 year that happened, right? That's crazy. That's like, just nuts to kind of see this, right? And so obviously I got involved with this stock. The first shares I bought, I still hold those exact shares, 10,000 shares. I don't believe I've ever sold one share in the history of the Planet stock, by the way. But this was in the public account. I bought 10,000 shares, $1.25. And then over time in my big dog count, I've just accumulated more and more and more shares over time. And I've raised cost basis on this one countless times to $3.29. And I'll also share with you in this video if I'm buying Planet stock now, things like that, okay? And so as of right now, as far as that count goes, up 26,000, up 15%. The gains aren't nearly what they once were, right? But it is still gains nonetheless. Now, in regards to Planet stock, is this something that it's just affecting them? Is only their stock price going down? Well, let's look. This is a good time period to look at what else is going on in that sector, okay? So if you look at one of the biggest ETFs in that space, right, the cannabis space, look at what has happened in this one. It's gone from at the, as February 1st it was 30, but at the highs it was $40 this ETF. Today it's $17. This ETF has fallen over 50% since the highs reached, what was that? Maybe, 6 to 9 months ago, right? And so you look at this, and it's clear as day, it's not just a stock like the Planet down, it's the entire space is down when you see ETFs that track this space down over 50% plus from highs. Look at this one, all right? MSOS. This one has fallen from $55 at the highs to $27 now. Around a 50% fall from the highs this one reached here. If you look at other big players in the space, like a Canopy, which is one of the biggest, right? Look at Canopy. So back in January 1st of 2021, this stock was $40 a share. It's $12 today. 12. At the highs, it was $56, and it is $12 today. Man, I don't even know what that is off the top of my head. Is that a 65-70% fall for this stock? Something dramatic like that? Like, that's pretty extreme. So what you're seeing here is this is not just something that it's only the Planet stock that is falling in the space. It is every single stock pretty much in this entire industry. Look at Kronos, another very, very popular stock, CRON. This one has fallen from $15 plus at the highs to today it's $5.29. That's what, a 60-65% fall there? Absolutely gargantuan, all right? Now, Robinhood reported earnings last night. Very, very disappointing earnings from the hood, needless to say. Now, the hood, when does the hood really benefit? The hood benefits when there's a lot of new investors coming to the market. They're trying to get involved with the stock market. And Robinhood's done historically a pretty good job of attracting newer investors to the market, right? And what we had in the back half of 2020, and even basically March and April of 2020, is we had a massive influx of new investors to the stock market, right? You had a lot of folks that were stuck at home thinking, oh, I'm going to start stock trading, right? You had a lot of folks that maybe usually would have gambled on sports or gone to casinos or things like that, right? That said, hey, let me go ahead and the stock market thing looks pretty fun, and dang, it looks pretty dang profitable because if you look at the stock market from basically the lows, I think it was March 23rd, 2020, through the end of the year, I mean, yeah, the stock market was a pretty darn good place to be, right? A lot of money to be made. And then what happened? Well, in March of 2021, the world started to open back up. The restrictions started being lifted across the board, right? And so suddenly you had all these folks that were just, dabbling in the stock market, right? You had all these folks that were dabbling in the stock market. Those folks went away, right? And now almost all of those folks are long gone. And all we have left now is the core people that are really, really into stock market investing. And that's it. The people that were just dabbling, coming in to play around with some money, those people are, woo. Now, what stocks are those folks really attracted to? Well, let me think about this. Let's think about a super high growth industry. Let's think about super high growth stocks. Oh, cannabis stocks. Those are extremely attractive to new investors into the market who are not very, who don't usually do this, right? Those folks aren't usually getting attracted and being like, I'm going to go buy Facebook stock. I'm going to go buy some Amazon stock. No, okay? Those folks are buying a lot of these, let's call them more speculative stocks in a growing space, which the cannabis space is a massive growing space, and there's a ton of, big growth companies, including the Planet, in this space, right? But let's be quite honest, those are the stocks they're attracted to. And so if those folks all of a sudden are like, bye-bye, we're leaving now, that puts immense selling pressure on from month after month after month after month in these stocks, right? As those people say bye-bye to the stock market and they flood that money out, that money goes somewhere else, they spend it, they go gamble it at the casino, right? We've seen Wynn's earnings out of Las Vegas property, the strongest we've ever seen, right? Or they go put it on crypto or whatever it is, okay? So needless to say, the money has left the stock market, it has left cannabis stocks, and people said, peace, okay? And so now you're stuck with a situation where you're looking at countless of these stocks down 50, 60, 70% from highs they reached, right? And so that's something we have to see here, right? I think if you want another good proof point of this, look at the Russell. Once again, newer investors to the market, they're looking to grow their money, right? That's what attracts people to the stock market. It's not like a person that has $10 million and like, what should I do with my money now? No, okay? It's people with, hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars that are trying to say, how am I going to grow my money the most? And smaller stocks are very attractive. Cannabis stocks obviously are extremely attractive to that group, but smaller stocks in general. And so look at the Russell. The Russell has done a whole lot of nothing. Meanwhile, the S&P 500, the Nasdaq's done pretty good. The Dow's done pretty good, right? And the Russell's just done nothing. Because from April of 2020 until February of 2021, so many new folks to the market bid up everything that was small cap, everything that was big growth, everything that was exciting. And as those folks said bye-bye to the markets, right, the money flushed out. And remember, what do cannabis stocks count on? What do smaller cap stocks count on? They count on a lot of retail investors getting into these stocks, right? Hedge funds, a lot of the big money, those folks are playing around with Apple and Facebook and Amazon and Google McDougal and Mr. Softy and Nvidia and AMD and Tesla. They're playing around with the big stocks, right? And so a lot of times, if you're a $1 billion market cap, a $500 million market cap, a $2 billion market cap, a lot of times you can't even get on Wall Street's radar, right? Until you get above a certain number and you start pushing such huge growth numbers year over year over year in the profitability that hedge funds then can't deny you, right? And the big money, right? The big money can't deny you, and then all of a sudden you can get in the S&P 500 or something like that, right? But until you get to that point, you are very reliant on folks like myself and a lot of other folks that are the quote-unquote retail investors, right? And so this is something very important to keep in mind. The whole market has been hit by this, folks saying bye-bye to the stock market, all right? Now, in terms of this sector, right, the cannabis sector, and then we're going to get back to the planet. If you're looking at this, you're seeing more and more states get legalized constantly. Right? This is a map essentially this shows legalized states. This shows medical and decriminalized. This shows medical. This shows decriminalized. It says CBD only. And then the few that are left that are fully illegal. All right. So what you're seeing is everything constantly year after year after year after year moving in the cannabis space, right? More and more states are legalizing, more and more states are moving to, decriminalization, which is obviously all steps in the right direction. We also saw a step in the right direction a few months ago where essentially a lot of the big banks can now start to invest money or loan money, lend money to a lot of stocks in this cannabis space, right? Which is another huge step in the right direction, because for a long time, a lot of these stocks, if they wanted to raise money, it was very, very hard for them to raise money. They had to try to dilute their shareholders, something like that. It was very hard to get bank loans and things like that. So there's all the steps are going in the right direction for if you care about the cannabis industry. And we know, let's be quite honest, the cannabis industry is a gargantuan industry that's there today, right? It's not like this is a sector or an industry that like you have to try to grow it. No, it's there, right? It's just about moving folks from illegal market to the legal market. Now, that's going to be something that plays out over the next 1 to 2 decades, right? There will be a day, in my opinion, in the United States of America where it's almost like ridiculous to think about buying that product illegally, right? Kind of like buying alcohol is like everybody goes to the store to do that. Like it's almost ridiculous to even imagine like buying alcohol illegally. I'm sure a couple people do it, but it's just like less than 1%, right? And so in my opinion, that's where we're going over time. Now, when does federal legalization come? So meaning essentially in every single state, everything's, legal all the time. That's a big question, and no one can say exactly when that's going to come, right? Because we're counting on the politicians to basically make things federal legal. I think if you know what? No. I know for a fact, if we had a vote in the United States of America right now, legalize or keep cannabis illegal, I 100% guarantee you there would be far more votes for legalizing cannabis around the United States than basically having it illegal. The problem is that's not how things are done in the United States, right? You have to wait on these politicians to introduce bills, and then it has to go through the Senate, and you have to go through this complicated process. But I can tell you, if we were just counting on strictly like Americans actually voting, it would be overwhelming. It would not even be close, and cannabis would be legal across the United States today, okay? But that's not, unfortunately, how things are done, and so we have to wait for the politicians. And when do they do it? Is it done in 2022, 2023, 2024? We're going to have to see. My opinion is coming sooner rather than later, but we never know. In the meantime, more and more states will legalize. A lot of these, right, that are medical right now, a lot of those over the coming years will move to legalized, right? And so this is all good things for companies like the planet overall. However, the federal legalization is the ultimate thing, because then you can start shipping over state lines. So let's say the planet, they have several owned brands that do very, very well, right? They could start shipping over state lines if we had federal legalization. Right now, it's illegal pretty much across the board to basically make products somewhere and then ship it to another state. You can't do that. And so if we have federal legalization, you could have a massive facility in, let's say, Nevada, making product and go ahead and ship it over to Florida, right? And do things like that. Ship it over to, North Carolina. So there's some food for thought. It's a process, guys. It's a process, right? Now, in regards to Planet, let's think about this one. The fundamentals underlying in the company. Well, they're expected to eke out a very, very small profit this year after taking losses, basically since the company's been around. They expect to take, a substantial step up, almost a 10x in their EPS next year, which would be a huge move in the right direction. They expect to have over 100% revenue growth this year. They expect to have 50% revenue growth next year. We're talking about stores in Chicago. We're talking about multiple stores in Florida, all right, which Florida is a market that could be absolutely a gargantuan market for the planet. I mean, you're talking about that market alone could end up being a third of their revenues or maybe even half of their revenues over time end up coming from Florida. So if you're looking at the fundamentals of this company, the management team's in place that's done a great job leading this company from basically a position where they had to close down their one store they had at that time where they could have went under, to making this company into a beast, to having these incredible numbers, to expanding this company, to having their balance sheet in a healthy place. They're doing everything, in my opinion, they could possibly do. The fact is, a ton of investors got into Planet stock and every stock that was in this space. Those same people have said bye-bye stock market, and it's led to this overwhelming selling pressure throughout 2021, right? Now, I do feel like we're almost toward the end of this selling pressure. However, it is still going on and is something we have to deal with through the end of this year. But like I said, the good news is almost all those folks that have been putting that selling pressure on, almost all those folks are out now at this point in time. That's how you get these stock prices to move down that much. It's just the immense, overwhelming selling pressure. Those folks that were in these stocks went ahead and said, you know what, we're using that money somewhere else. And it is what it is, okay? But in terms of the fundamentals of Planet, I'm absolutely happy with the company. I'm going to obviously continue to track the company, own the company. Now, let's speak for a moment if I'm interested in buying the stock. So my perspective on this is, if this stock goes under cost basis in my big dog account, I will absolutely start buying shares again of this stock, right? We're basically, all the stock would need to go down is 15-20%, and I would be under cost basis. So if this goes under 329, that's where I'm interested in buying more shares. I already own a good amount of shares, right? I own 10,000 in the other account. I also own shares in my retirement account, and I own 52,000 shares in my big dog account. So I already have a significant Planet position, especially considering this is, on the spectrum of like a safety stock versus speculative. This is more toward the speculative side, although it's not even close to what it once was as far as speculative. When I first bought this stock, it was very, very speculative. It's not like that anymore when you look at the revenues, the way they're ramping up, and the way this business is being run, right? However, at the end of the day, we can't just say like there's no risk in this one, because absolutely there's risk in this one. So if it was to go under 329 a share, that's where I start accumulating some more shares again in the stock. For now, at the exact moment, I'm just interested in holding my current shares. I continue to be a huge believer in this one over the next 5-10 years. I think it's one of the most exciting stocks I hold. Absolutely. This sector will just continue to grow. Eventually, federal legalization will come when our politicians get their heads out of there, and, things will be on the up and up from there, guys. So hope you enjoyed this. As always, if you're looking to join us in the private stock group, we have a free 7-day trial going on right now for the private stock group. Check out pinned comment down there if you're looking to scale your portfolio to much bigger levels. Much love as always, guys, and have a great day.